It's of course hard to know. We do not know how cold the winter will be. And at the moment, so it is hard to predict. But overall, both people and governments are preparing for a very tough winter.
So if this were the coldest winter on record, then they're in trouble. If it's the warmest winter on record, then, they're in good shape. Now, the question is, in between, what happens? It's most likely to be in between. Now, Europe has about 90% of its gas storage filled. So they're not as worried about this winter as they are about next winter. So again, if they're lucky, if the weather is kind to them, and they can continue to take strong actions to reduce demand, they should make it through this winter. But again, there's not a lot of time. They have to move quickly since energy shortfalls can have a major impact on business and on individuals in Europe. So it's a real challenge for them. And certainly anything they can do to reduce demand will be an important step. It is an incredible measure. Like I said, this reduced a very large amount of methane, which has both economic and environmental consequences. I mean, these were explosions, right? Two fairly significant explosions that did great damage to both those pipelines. And so it raises the specter of basically sabotage. And I mean, that's been the concern, is that it's a very sophisticated attack on infrastructure. And that was followed up on Saturday in Germany. Basically, the train system had its communications cut around Berlin and Hanover and shut down train service for 4 hours. So again, it was another deliberate attack of sabotage. And so it's really stepping up. So I guess what I'm saying is the scary part about Nord Streams and now the train is this creeping escalation in Europe that may signal much broader warfare.
These nations have different interests, have somewhat different attitudes to the war in Ukraine. Some of them are very dependent on gas, some of them have a more or less complete dependence on nuclear, some of them have developed renewables much faster than others. So it's a huge number of different governments coming together. I think from historical perspective, what's remarkable is the level of unity. Overall, Europe has come together as one entity fighting this extreme energy crisis.
It's a real challenge because Europe has a real range of wealthier and poorer countries. And that divide in a way is north-south, but also east-west. And Germany has taken recent action, $200 billion to try to mitigate the impacts. And at this point, the question is, how much can Europe maintain harmony along its policies? So it's a very challenging. They had their meeting in Prague. As I understand, they did not expect to reach an agreement in Prague, and they didn't. They're going to have another meeting by the end of the month. They are taking action where basically they will meet jointly with potential suppliers, Norway and the US for natural gas, to try to negotiate common agreements. And President Macron has basically been trying to encourage. So we don't know if they can maintain that united front or if they fragment, but hopefully they can have at least some degree of common performance here and get the long-term supplies that they need. This will really accelerate Europe's push towards renewables, but they need natural gas, they need oil, they need a variety of supplies. So it's going to take an incredible transformation of their whole energy system. They need to find new markets, and they will need to build new infrastructure, say, to China, while Europe has to build new infrastructure, say, for LNG to come in. It's really going to transform the energy system on a global basis. And there's such large players, like I said, it's going to affect everyone. So again, this is going to lead to a real revolution, not just in Europe on energy supplies, but globally.
if you move into renewables, into solar, wind, green hydrogen, hydropower, it's a triple win, and then you become energy independent. You save a lot of money on the state budget, which are today used for import. You create jobs at home rather than abroad, and you do well for Mother Earth all at the same time. So I'm very confident that everywhere we will see now a rapid transition into the renewables, because those are domestic resources everywhere, and it gives so much meaning both economically and ecologically.